Uh, Welcome to West Virginia and Commonplace. Today, this is one of these special feel-good episodes. I'm bringing back not bringing back, but I'm bringing on a Rustburg native, Vesna. You all know her as Vesna Jones, and now you are Vesna
Farrar.
Farr. Okay, guys, when we do these podcasts or whenever I do them with people that I grew up with, it's always something special that grabs me to them. Now, with Vesna, this is a weird story, but I will just say it because we didn't even go over it. Her mother, Nora, her mom is the greatest Spanish teacher, the greatest influence in the Spanish culture in our community of Rustburg. We had other Spanish teachers, blah, 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 but her mom had the pizzazz. Her mom had charisma, and with charisma, that makes you an enigma. And not everybody has charisma, everybody has selling points, but her mom was so charismatic. I remember growing up that we would always, it was a joy to go to your mother's class. And not to speak too much about her because I'll have to find her around the world
It's
somewhere.
okay. I'm a big fan of her, so it's okay.
Yeah, her mother, like, she just, I don't know what it would have been like to grow up with your mother, but I would have loved to have to rented your mother. Like if I could have got her from Rent a Center for like 90 days or so, just to have all that high octane energy. It seemed like your mom had 93 gas inside of her every day.
She did. She did. She had an energy. She has an energy. Forgive me. She has an energy that is just. It can be almost exhausting sometimes because watching her and how she paces herself and how she works and how much she cares, it's inspiring, and not just for everybody, but even in the family. It's wonderful to see her, and also know the behind the scenes and what she does and the caring and the empathy behind it. It makes it even more special. So thank you for those compliments for her. That's huge.
Oh yeah, no doubt. So Nora, at some point I will reach out. I will find you. I want to thank your mom, like, for being part of and I'm going to do this for now on because I have a few other episodes with other people from Rustburg, but she's part of our culture. Like she's influenced a lot of people, and you never know how far. And I always say this about influence because I didn't know what I was doing for people myself, and you obviously don't know what you do for people either. Um, Influence, we never know who we touch and how we touch them. So Vesna, tell us a little bit about yourself. Let the audience know about you.
Well, thank you. I'm super excited to be here. So I did grow up in our community. Yes, I grew up actually in a farming family and couldn't wait to get out of the area. So I did as soon as possible, and I went to school. But there's always been a level of caring for people, wanting to help people, and so ended up going into school and kind of doing a macro sociological background with psychology. Sales has always been a desire for me, but I kept stumbling into all the wrong things. So I did live out of state for a little while and then came back and began to work at the local social services. And it's one of those God-given moments where you go, this is not at all what I want, but I'm here. And it grew me exponentially in ways that I could not have grasped if I had tried to do what I thought I should be doing. So I think a lot of times when we start off going, this is how my life is going to look, and then whatever the reasons may be, it doesn't go that direction. It's, as 2020 has taught us, it's okay to pivot. It's okay to just turn direction, to go, okay, I will try this step or I'll try this direction. So after about 13 years, I have left the Department of Social Services, and I'm actually staying at home with my two children. My husband also had a career shift after 17 years in engineering. And so I'm now farming and doing, I actually own my own business and I work for myself so that I can kind of have a nice balance of chaos and structure after 13 years of being under a government, a government entity. So it has been one of the most challenging and one of the most exciting years of my life. I can't say that I've loved every second of it, but I think that's just life. You're not supposed to love every second.
Okay.
But at the same time, that feeling of, wow, this is where I'm actually called to be has been much more prominent. And I'm thankful I'm hitting it now in my mid 30s and can see where it goes from there.
Okay, so I'm gonna just dive right in. I've been doing this whole. Do you remember the TV show 2020?
Yeah.
All right, so you had Diane Sawyer, you had Barbara Walters, you had John Stossel. John Stossel did a little comedic thing. I don't do the comedic thing. Stand up is only on Saturday nights. So let me go into the hard hitting question here, like before we go any further. What motivated you this year to change everything around? Not saying COVID, but there's always minor little things here or there. What motivated you to just go full circle and turn things into the line of work you're doing now?
So, full disclosure, I had hit a point of my job where I was burnout, but I didn't want to admit it. And the negativity I was bringing was counterintuitive to who I actually am. So, I'm an annoyingly positive. I gained that from my mom. One of those annoyingly positive people that I really do see the positivity, but I have a nice streak of sarcasm to keep it relaxed.
Okay.
Um, and what was happening was that sarcasm was coming out and everything was tinged negatively. And instead of being challenged and feeling like I was actually contributing, I felt like I was spinning my wheels and not actually growing. And when I don't feel like I'm growing, and I think this is true for many, many people that I've worked with, if I don't feel like I'm growing, I feel like there's something innately wrong with me. And I begin to kind of just focus inward. Whenever that happens and you're focused solely on your ego, there is nothing else happening and you cannot do anything else. You're pretty miserable around the people that you are supposed to be joyous around. You stop finding the happiness. And I knew all those things. I'd studied all those things, but it took me too long to figure it out myself. So I decided that instead of continuing to just be safe and stay negative and be secure, that at the time, my husband was actually out of state, and he was out of state for a solid 6 months, and we couldn't see him and could barely talk to him. And so I needed to be home for my kids. So I kind of used COVID like, I kind of need to be around home. But there had been such a longing to get out of the safety that I finally practically threw up and wrote a 2 weeks notice. And I went, I love you guys. I thank you for everything. And I'm out of here. And it was one of the scariest moments. I cried the first week, the entire, you're supposed to celebrate when you leave a job because,
Yes.
you don't leave a job without another job. And I was leaving a job for an insecure, like no job. And it was awful. I cried the first week. What have I done? But I knew enough that if I wasn't contributing positively anymore, I was only going to bring other people down. And I had a coworker, my work spouse, who I love dearly, and that I recognized I was negatively impacting her. And I did not want to be that person anymore. So it all kind of just came to head in May of this year. And I went, fine, I'll come home. We do have a family farm. We do have, there's been part of the family that's been taking care of it, but people are aging. And it was also that smack in the face this year of if everybody were to pass before me, I don't know anything. And this family farm could possibly potentially be good, just gone. And that was riskier than staying safe in an office job. And so I now dedicate my time to learning about things that I probably should have learned more about when I was a kid, as well as just working with my family, which I'm very, very grateful for. And then being with the kids as much as possible. They do go to school now, but that sense of if I had to look at, and this is something I ask myself a lot, if I'm laying on my deathbed and God willing, I have my brain and I go, am I happy? What did I contribute in life? Who have I helped in life? And did I leave a legacy that my family will be proud of? And if those three things, if I can sit here and say the choice that I'm about to make is not going to lead to one of those things, then I'm not making a very good choice, am I? And that has been driving me. I heard that one day during some development thing, and I just thought, that is it. That is it. That is how I'm going to have to live. Is this going to take me to something that is going to benefit others and leave a legacy of honor and pride for my family? And what kind of legacy am I leaving for my family? So I'm not sure if I really answered it.
Yeah. So like what I got from this, and I'll pass this along to the viewers too. You got stagnant, and you're a person that can't be stagnant. You can't be stagnant water.
Mm-hmm.
It was a bit of self-care involved in this.
Mm-hmm.
And at the very end of what you said, family preservation. You have a farm. Your family. In I think the key thing that I got from everything you just said was that it's about the family. It's about the self-care, the individual that's involved, and how you're the patriarch, how you have to, carry everything out to a certain degree. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah, and it is. If you are given a family legacy, I mean, even if it's just a house, even if it's not a house, let's just say it's something that your family does that maybe another family doesn't do. It's that sense of, are you contributing that? And is it something that's going to benefit? Are you going to leave the world a better place than you found it? Am I just up here sucking up oxygen and wasting my time? Or am I actually giving back and benefiting others? And if the answer is I'm over here sucking a bear, then I need to move on to something that's going to help someone else. And there are a lot of people who I love listening to elderly people. And I think that that is something that a lot of us need to just kind of sit back and go, what do the elderly have to tell us? Because one lady said, if I'm feeling blue and I'm feeling gross, I reach out to somebody and I do something nice to them. I write somebody a card. I say hello. I call somebody. And as soon as I get out of my own head, I am transformed into somebody that's caring for someone else. And I begin to move forward again. I'm not stuck in, I'm not looking inward. I'm moving outward again. And that is something that it's stuck with me. So that whole self-care, that whole family preservation is, I was really just going, oh, it's so me. But really it wasn't. It was other people. It's, my husband has chosen a career that is benefiting the family, but it also means that he's here and there and doing different things. And to have someone who's stable and being able to take care of anybody that needs to be taken care of is a gift. And so I need to use it wisely. I need to use it wisely. So.
Okay. So what is this business that you got into?
So it is it's network marketing. And I say it that way because there has been such a negative connotation. So whenever I used to walk up to somebody and say, oh, I have a side biz, or I have a side hustle, and it was always with a connotation of depreciation, as well as that sense of don't judge me.
Right.
But if anything, this year has shown that jobs are not just outside of the home. Jobs are clearly now capable of being inside the home and worked around schedules and paced with family. And if you are your own boss, it is truly up to you what you're going to achieve. So there was a lot of research that I did into company culture, and that's such a trendy word as well. So I kind of hesitate on that. But what I was looking for in a company, and it helped me exponentially in how others look for companies and what they're looking for, and the luxury almost of going, okay, what am I worth, and what do I want to see out of a company? And I did a whole lot of research before I went into anything else. And I've seen sales and I've done other sales, and I failed. Let's just be honest. I failed in other sales because I didn't apply, but it also helped me refine what I was looking for. And the level of talking about self-care, that level of personal development that we forget to do, and not just going to a spa and getting a massage, but who am I? What am I doing on this earth? What do I want to do on this earth? How do I help people on this earth? That I was clearly on that journey early in this year, so I just continued it. And so the business that I'm with is it's a vehicle. It's a vehicle. It's an amazing vehicle, but the culture itself is something that provides so much more than just feeling good and being in your own skin. And I can talk more about that, but that's what I'm doing. I work with a company called Madare. And so there's products that I utilize to benefit my physical health, which then in turn benefits my mental health, emotional health. And it's an entire package in one.
Okay. Now let me give the listeners a little insight. All right. Obviously I run a podcast, so I search for guests. I look everywhere. I want to say quite a few months ago, last time it was really warm. And everybody calls it a Facebook story or anything like that. I'm a professional wrestling fan, so I call them vigilantes. So they're little things. And I notice everybody. One thing that anybody will tell you about me is I pay attention to a lot of detail. I don't just
very detailed.
I just don't.
It astounds me how well you do that.
Yeah, I just don't. I don't call it a stalker thing. I just I look at certain people. I put out a Facebook story, so I look at the next 15 people beside me. I put out an Instagram story. I look at the next 20 people beside me. So I started noticing. I mean, you always were posting things, but it was just small little things. It could be a meme here, or it could be something about self-improvement. You started doing just a minor few little things. Then you started catching a little steam. You were actually doing more videos. You were doing this and that. So I was like, hey, what she got going on over here? And I talked to many friends between us about different people. And, we always, people's names spark up. Your name sparks up because, it's a very unique name. So,
yes.
a lot of times, we come from a AA school. So we had a fairly good size amount of kids that we went to school and kids below us. The rule of thumb that I give people is when you're in high school, the kids that are 2 years under you and that are 4 years above you, you would know. So that gives you a train of 6 years plus 4 more years for the cousins and the whoever. So you could have a stretch in high school of people knowing you for about a good 10 years through that time. So I noticed what you were doing, and I was like, nobody else is really doing anything like this. You know, you weren't out there hard selling. You're not out there ever hard selling or doing anything like that. Simple positive reinforcement, because you never know what someone's going through. And I was like, man, that's really touching, and that's like,
thank you.
That's like sort of like what I try to do with the podcast by bringing people on.
Yeah.
You know, obviously we have a detail of, yes, there's something that you may be selling, but you're influencing, even though you don't want to be an influencer.
Well, not necessarily. I actually, after you said that, and I'll go ahead and say, JR asked me, you know, how does it feel to be a social media influencer? And I immediately reacted, I'm not an influencer, no way. So then I went and looked it up because I am a nerd, and I am not, it is a bit of an influence. And I think I needed to retweak how I thought about it, because sometimes that influencer, they're spending more time making sure that they have a very carefully crafted image and how they want that image to be presented and how they want companies to utilize that. And in a sense, this new format that I both stumbled into and also researched is called social retail. So you are creating an imagery of what you hope, while also keeping it very realistic, showing the vulnerability and also showing just who you are as a person, which I really wish society would let us just respect the fact that we are not happy all the time. It's okay to not be happy all the time, and you have to get through that in order to get through that. So that is where I'm coming from, in place of honesty, and having a company that supports it and encourages that kind of growth and interdevelopmental thing amongst a team is key. So yes, there is sales involved, but when it comes down to the format of how you're utilizing that sales, you can either be super spammy pammy and go after people and utilize techniques that make people uncomfortable, or you can find something that speaks to who you are naturally and you just use your basic skills. And I think that is huge when it comes down to that shift in network marketing. Most smart, innovative, forward-thinking companies are going in that direction. If you have a company that says, no, you have to do it this way, and this is the image you have to craft, unless that's your image that you already have, you are not going to feel comfortable, and it is not going to be something that will make you happy down the road. And in the grand scheme of things, we all want to make sure we're happy down the road.
Oh yeah, no doubt that, and I like it because it's so subtle. Because my approach with things, like, I have guerrilla tactics. I live in West Virginia, so I travel between Virginia, North Carolina, Tennessee, Maryland, Pennsylvania, all these places within 30 days. So my hard sell is that, and it's silly, Snapchat. We're adults. Snapchat, like with what you do, you could film a video, and you can put Linktree or something to it. I put my business in rest areas. I don't.
Yes.
Yeah, I know that sounds crazy, but like, I don't go out and just like, oh, you need to listen to this, blah 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 blah.
Right.
Because I kind of seen what you did, something subtle to get my business up and to still keep it, things look very lively. So let me ask you this: your company that you work for, what is their first motto? If someone wants to get in there, wants to get started with your company, what is the very beginning tool that they give you to get you to not think so much into their mode, because you're being an individual in everything you're doing, but how do they get you to come to them over someone else? That's a better way to say
it. Team culture. So I didn't, and one thing I have to say, I love to work, and it was a big mental difficulty, big mental hurdle. And not everybody feels this way, but I don't sit still very well. And so going home and being with the children, it was wonderful. Going home and farming, that's a lot of physical things, was great. But there was still a side of me that felt not being used, which is why I went back into sales and looked around and thought, okay, this is something that's interests me, but I can do it on my time. This specific company, they give you the team culture of, we are all on the same level. And that is different than any other company I've been in. You have different levels you want to achieve, obviously, if you're looking for a financial gain, But when you come into a company culture where they say, okay, what is a personal goal for you? Not business goal, but what is a personal goal for you? Where do you want to see yourself in 1 year? If you could write a letter to yourself, what does that look like? How does it taste? What does it feel like? What are you smelling? What are you seeing? Who's with you? Who's around you? What's the weather? I mean, very specific goals that we can talk about in like terminology, but when you're hungry and you want to do something for yourself and your family, and or just do something different, that is huge. That puts you in a different mindset. This company also gives you a basic blueprint. 5-10 minutes, you know what the company is about, you know their values, you know that they honor those values, and you know basically their model off the bat. You then, based on what you want to do, can take it and run with it and create. I see a lot of health coaches in this company because it is a health and wellness company.
Okay.
I see a whole lot of nurses that work with it because the products are outstanding. They won awards. I see a lot of women who are understanding that a lot of times stay-at-home moms, particularly, not knocking dads, but stay-at-home moms particularly, there's a confidence thing that just isn't there. Whether it's self-identity, whatever it could be, we could be here for hours talking about that. But that those moms that have just gone, no, this is my identity and I can grow this while it's benefiting my family and actually paying more attention to them. And again, not being a spammy Tammy. So and forgive me if there's any Tammys listening. I don't know why I keep saying that, but that is one of those things that just comes out. So I apologize.
Yeah.
But it is there again, that negative connotation with network marketing is you have to, drink the Kool-Aid and fall in. But that's not what a lot of the companies do. You got to drink their Kool-Aid, go on their level. But if you can meet a company that is innovative and can give you the blueprint in 5-10 minutes and say, this is what we're about, and here's how you can do it, and then you can run with it. This company also they basically tell you how to get running with it in 30 days. And they give you the things that have to happen social media wise, but they're formulated and thought out and researched and utilized from the very top. And I'm not talking like, well, you can do this peons, but top folks are doing this themselves while you're doing it with them. And you get on the meetings with them and you don't have to earn a conversation with them. You just talk to these people. They're humans. Totally different than anything I've ever experienced.
Yeah. So you're actually part of the team. You're from top to bottom. I like that. That idea.
Yeah.
On the show, and I always do this, I always tell everybody, it's awesome that you're selling something right now. You're doing something. You have a great way of doing things. But has there come a point when you're doing this, right, that you just had to stop for a minute and you're like, that whoa factor or wow factor, has that hit you yet?
Oh yeah, it's hit me actually in several different ways. Yeah, absolutely. It hit me one day when I was doing something and I said something to somebody that Vesna would say in her head, but wouldn't actually ever come out because I tend to not want confrontation and don't want to rock the boat. And it snapped out, not rudely, but just very confidently. And I went, whoa, what? Who is that? And I could recognize the change. I mean, even in the last 3 months, the huge shift I've had just personally, the joy personally, the confidence personally. I mean, that if I didn't make a dime from this company, that would be worth it and then beyond. And we literally got off the Zoom before this meeting and we were all saying that. Women up here, women down here. All of us, even men on the call, were like, this, if we don't make a dime, the team culture, that feeling of support, encouragement, and embodiment of being who you are blows it out the water. So that was wow number one. Wow number two is that I'm more successful in this because it is something that speaks more to my personality, being healthy, making sure your body can move, athletic kind of things, while also working just to be healthy, period. Mental, emotional. So it's a couple wow moments at least.
Okay. So if someone wants to position themselves with your company, how do they get in touch with you? Because here's the key thing. So many times when I deal with these podcasts, I have people on, you're promoting a book, you're promoting something, and we get detail in there. And we usually do this 2 or 3 times in the episode because I have some people that like to just click through. They'll find a spot they
Mm-hmm.
like and they'll just listen because I'll break it up in certain areas. So
Okay.
how do they get in touch with you so that they can be successful just like you?
They reach out directly to me, and we can talk about both the company. I have a website that is directly related to the company, but getting in and having a conversation with me about your goals, whatever they may be, whether it's just physical health goals, financial goals, personal goals, whatever, that will help me tell you whether or not this is going to be a good fit, because it's not going to be something that it it's not going to be something that we want to say this is absolutely for you, when in reality you weren't looking for this. So having a conversation with me, getting into a conversation with other people in the company, just to talk about what you hope to see, then we can begin the process of, is this going to be something that's going to suit you? It is a blessing for everybody, but it doesn't mean that this is a specific blessing for everybody.
Okay.
It's so.
So do you have a business Instagram?
No, it is personal. So my personal profile is, yeah, I did not do a business Instagram because, again, it's that sense of reality.
Right, because
Um,
you're not trying to brick and mortar what you're doing.
no, and it was actually recommended not to, and I hadn't. Um, I have other business avenues that I'm working on, but that is, for me, getting in touch with me on Instagram, getting in touch with me on Facebook, sending a friend request while also sending a message. When people do friend requests, I send them, hey, thanks for the friend request. Tell me how I know you. Let's be friends in real life, because it is not just let me be a pretty picture of what life might be like. It is, who are you and how can I add value in your life and what can we do together?
Right, and I like that y'all are breaking the taboo of this perceived social media. Because I tell you a
Mm-hmm.
funny joke. And just in my line of work, I have to be very careful what I post.
Mm-hmm.
So I treat Facebook like it's Walmart. I treat Instagram about like it's Target, because Target. Not everybody's going inside Target. We
Right.
have a second store in this portion of where I live called Myers, and
Mm-hmm.
Myers is Walmart and Target at the same time.
Hmm.
So I have certain people that are on that level with me, and I hate to put
Yeah.
tiers like that, but I do
Yep.
that for the simple. And you don't do that. You're flat. But the reason
Well,
that
it's a mixture, because there are certain people on Instagram that you can appeal to differently than you can on Facebook. And it's just watching your audience. It's nothing really like molding yourself differently. Because it is level across the board. I post across the board, but if it doesn't suit on Instagram, I'm not going to put it on Facebook.
okay,
So I got what you're saying, but so I'll, again, sarcastic streak. There are certain memes that come up that I'm like, oh, I really want to post this, but it's because it's funny to me in that moment. But looking back, it could be offensive to someone else. It could be something that would make someone else feel like second guessing themselves, and I'm not here for that. So even if for a moment it might be funny, 2 days from now I might go, that really wasn't that funny, and I was in a really interesting mood. And so that awareness of, no, I'm not molding my life, but I am making sure that it is as open as I want it to be. There are things, yeah. Does that make sense?
yeah,
Does that make sense?
that does make sense, because like I say, like with my adult content, like I do an episode once a month that is adult content. I throw that on Saturdays at
Mhm.
night. It doesn't matter if you listen during the day. But anything that I have that's that type of humor, that's what I have Snapchat for in this day and age. My private little 18 or 20 people that I deal with on that level, if it's a funny joke, we pass it there. If it gets out of
Yeah,
there,
yeah.
and I understand it too. Like, so here's my Diane Sawyer question.
Mhm.
With the job that you do, what is your new motto in life? What was your motto before this? And what is the motto that you would pass along to Vesna Jr. if there was a Vesna Jr.?
Okay. I never honestly had a set motto. I do think I go back to leave the world better than you found it. That's kind of been where I was before, but varying in how I did that. It was in small ways, it was in this way, it was in that way, but I never felt like there was a calling way. I mean, I worked in social services, so a lot of it was, how can I help people that are coming in my specific job function and benefit them? Now that I'm not in that sense of how can I leave the world better than I found it, I have to try a lot harder. It's not only for me, it's agriculturally. how can I take care of this land? How can I leave it better than I found it? But it's also everybody that I come in contact with. Can I benefit them in some form or fashion? Can I add value to their life? And can I make them, even if I can't add value, can I make them for 38 seconds feel important and know that they're important and know that they're a gift to this earth? And if it checks those boxes, then I move forward. If it doesn't, then I reevaluate why it's coming up for me and in what way I need to toss over it. And it's cooled me down a little bit. I've had to slow down a lot more than I expected, just so I can really evaluate, is this going to benefit someone somewhere along the way? And if I could pass this down, sorry.
So it's basically kind of like you don't waste your time.
I try not to.
You see what's essential, and you see what's going to be positive for someone at the same time taking care of yourself. Because I kind of have to watch that now too, like, because with the podcast, like the crazy thing people don't understand, I do this like outside of my work. So like where I had this free week, I cycled.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah,
backgrounds of podcasts. I had no clue until recently.
Yeah, like, because even for you, and I'll give this story. I've been after you probably since I want to say in September.
Oh my!
Yeah, just we've talked back and forth, but you got so much going on.
Yeah.
You have to get in where you fit in.
Yeah.
So with everything that's going on with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
In your job, what is the greatest part of your job today? Because we talked about a lot of things, but when I say the greatest part, like what at the end of the day, like when you sit down and it's Vesna 30, which is your time for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
what is the greatest satisfaction you get out of your job? Because we always have different parts that entail that we feel good about this and that. Like I can say, I love doing the podcast because it gives people an outlet to empower others. But my real benefit is I like doing these podcasts because I reconnect with people and people that I didn't know we're connected by other people.
Yeah.
I'm like, wow, this person could have been my friend 20 years ago.
Right.
That's
right. Yes, actually, we just had that conversation, and I think I'm more in line with you. It's the connecting. It's the making a honest and unique connection with another human. It's so easy, especially in this kind of environment we're in right now, where it's stay 6 feet away, stay, wherever. That human connection, that is a basic life function that we as humans need. We need to feel connected to another human. And being at home and working with cows, they're great. They're wonderful. Or working on the land, they're wonderful. But that human connection, and at the end of the day, when I'm sitting and, if I'm like, I feel accomplished today, it is that connecting with another human and feeling like I left them happier, feeling value, feeling better, whatever the thought may be, feeling healthier than I found them in that day. And they gave me a gift of their attention and time. And time is the biggest gift now. And so if they gave me that little bit of their time, then for me, that's what makes me feel empowered, that I've been able to connect with someone during the day.
Okay, I like that answer. Because that is what we're looking for, that connection there. Because like you said, things get just, everything in the world is misconstrued. 2020 for some people has been very bad. 2020 for me, where I travel a lot, it has been a blessing in disguise because there's not that many people out in the world right now. And I tell people this, a lot of people don't really think about this. Like, I say just bordering states of you to me and across. Like, this has been the time that Zoom has become the greatest. Like, it's the new grandma. It's the glue, in families now. So I find that to be rather interesting. So back to everything that's going on with you. The audience is focused now because this is around the time that they're getting to where they're either going to jump off the podcast or keep staying with it. What else is going on inside your job? How is the product able to motivate and to stimulate? Give us all that right there. I want you to give us the best Vesna that you can right now. So go ahead.
All right. So let me tell you, I shared a little bit at the beginning where I was 12 years into that career you're supposed to stay in, that, 40 hours a week, 40 years of your life, 40, that whole so-called goal that most of us think of when we're little kids and we're encouraged to do, which is a very difficult reality now. Miserable. Absolutely hated it. Did not like myself. I was an utter disaster of a parent, and it was just blech. I left. I took a huge, scary leap. I have then since found a company that encourages personal development and encourages you to be healthy on all aspects. That has opened up both my mental awareness as well as that emotional giving that kind of got bottled up when it was burnout. Our products, because they kind of run the gamut of both. So we have collagen, we have health supplements. The collagen for me was a big thing. I'm a runner and I was having some knee issues, and every time I ran, I was just miserable with my knee, and I was doing everything they were telling me to do. And I started taking this collagen. I'd been taking powder collagen before I started taking this. I didn't have knee pain, and that was it. That was it. That was all I needed. The vitamins, the supplements, they're beneficial. My body is moving better. I have more injuries because, anyways, but I'm feeling the effects of taking care of myself physically. And this whole year shows you that if you can take care of yourself physically, it then means that you have less time to focus on how you feel or what's hurting or what thing is going wrong or what body part's not working properly, so that you can then focus on the people who are in front of you, either whether they be your children, whether they be your grandparents, whether they be your parents, whether they be the sick couple down the street. Now you are healthy enough that you can focus outward, and that then helps your mental health because you're not focused on you, which then helps your emotional health because you're not focused on you, because then it can help your spiritual health. That trickle effect, that overarching health, just because you decided to take a little bit of collagen to help that sore knee, blows my mind. So when I see women, I had a mom talk to me and she said, I just don't want to be that fat mom running after my kid. And I cried because I knew that feeling of, I don't want to be that slow person worried about how I look and just having fun with my kid. It's about how you can benefit someone. How can I leave this world a better place? Well, I can help this mom feel better by taking care of herself. And now she physically feels better. So now she's not worried about what she looks like. So she can go run after her kid. So now she can go enjoy her life. That's huge. That's it's not just a bottle of pill. It's not, your daily vitamin. It's not collagen. It is about living your life and fully embracing your life and fully being personally developed to share your gift with everybody else. We need our gifts now more than ever. And I will preach that till I can't anymore. Share your gift. Do not be afraid of it. We need it. We need it in this world.
Okay, I like that. And once again, like I said, what I like about your approach, and even you're doing it in this interview, you didn't come out here and you didn't try to hard sell. You came with a nice story and like that positive reinforcement to that mother. Not everybody, and that's one thing that I always try to talk about. Like, not a lot of people understand that it's not necessarily self isolation. It's once you become a parent, your circle gets really, really small,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yeah.
parents could, that mother could just be alone, even though there's 100 people around her. Being alone
Bingo.
is the worst thing than being lonely, And like with what you said, I could kind of feel or sense there that you're taking some of that away from her in that self esteem.
Yeah.
Building that
We're
up.
not. Yeah.
Because not
Well, we're
everybody
not
builds
alone.
up. Yeah.
And we forget. It's easy to forget in this culture right now because it is a lot of me oriented. Good grief, English. Me oriented focus. And that's why I say personal development and self-care very gingerly, because it is that. But in reality, it's so that you're not totally focused on you anymore. It's so that you can look elsewhere and be connected with people and feel like you're part of something
And
instead
for that
of
mother to inspire her children to do more, and then her
bingo.
children to the network.
That wave, the trickle effect. Hey, I saw mommy taking care of herself. I'm going to take care of myself so that 30 years from now, I too know that I need to take this break and that I can be healthier for my kid, which then benefits that child. People don't realize that ripple effect, and we're seeing it some. This pandemic has brought it into light some, but it's about everything you do, every choice you make, that effect. It's years down the road without you knowing it.
Okay. All right. Now, Vesna, we have to get into a special part of this show.
Okay.
On my show, that's one thing that people need to know, or a talent. There is a rapper in New York City. This guy, and I talk about him all the time. And I've got to post this video. I'm probably going to do it this evening. he can fix in a Rubik's Cube, like he can solve it in 30 to 40 seconds. He in the brain function that it takes to do that, I wish I had that power so that I could do something really amazing in the world. So what is a hidden talent or a secret that no one knows about you? Because everybody has one. Like I have a disdain for beets. I don't like beets. You can give me other root vegetables. I'll eat rhubarb, parsnips, whatever, but keep your beets. If you can bring beets, I'll unfriend you in real life, you know.
I honestly, I think, and I can only think of a pet peeve. I don't know if any of my talents are really bad. I don't know. This is a great question, but I really don't know. Hang on. I would have to say that commercials about pouring drinks, like the Coca-Cola commercials, any kind of beverage pouring makes me want to crawl out of my skin. And I don't know why. It is that sound. When I hear it on the radio, I have to turn it off. When a commercial comes on, it drives me insane. But I think that is. Yeah.
Go ahead.
I have no idea, honestly. It's a newer thing that is probably just something random. I don't know. You caught me off guard. I don't have a good answer for you.
Well, let me ask you: is it because that sound is not the real sound in real life? Because nobody's can just opens all nicely like that with that extra little sound. Yeah, and all that extraness. My can opens.
It's
like
the glug glug glug. It can get to me in real life, and like I don't drink soda. I haven't drank soda since high school. I got addicted to Mountain Dew, and I haven't had it since then because of getting off of that was awful.
Okay.
So I I'll have a can here and there, but it's that pouring sound from a can or a bottle into a cup. I don't know. That I think that's just a very strange thing that plucks my odd nerve, but that's really it. I mean, I worked with motorcycles. I have an unhealthy obsession with motorcycles. And one day I will own one after my kids are grown.
Okay,
but I think they're one of the most amazing things on this planet. And there's a sense of freedom with motorcycles that just puts me extremely calm. So.
Like, is it something like you would go up the Blue Ridge Mountains or something and do, or?
Oh, I would do anywhere. I would just ride around in circles if people would let me. And I've got my license. I just don't have a motorcycle, especially now that as a mother, it seems a little bit like for me, I would end up probably being stupid and doing tricks or something. I think the challenge of it, controlling a piece of machinery, having it, work with you, the curves in some of the mountains like Dragon's Gap down here, on the southwestern side, that's a dream course for me to go through. I've done the Blue Ridge Mountains. I've worked on short courses and stunt work, but I think just motorcycles are just a kind of an enigma for me. Unicorns for some people, motorcycles for me.
Okay, I can go with that. And once again, I want to thank you so much for being on West Virginia Commonplace.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. This has been fun.
Yeah, I know that you were probably a little nervous at first, but you're a natural. The one question I always ask people, and I've got to ask you, and people don't know that we're talking on Zoom, so you can see me. I'm just sitting in the house with a weird wall behind me. What's stopping you from having your own podcast? You have a positive vibe. You have all this great stuff going for you. What is stopping you? Because it only takes 20 minutes out of your day if you want one singular episode, or really 3 hours out of your whole week to edit, do all that stuff. What's stopping you?
I think that I enjoy listening to so many other experts that up until recently, I did not feel like I was really an expert in anything. So for me, adding that onto my plate while I'm totally shifting life would probably mean it would fall to the wayside. So I know the time that I would want to devote to it by cultivating an audience, by cultivating people to come on. I currently need to use that time for family, my business, as well as farming. And I have learned enough about myself that I am absolutely, let me go for it. Give me all the cool ideas. But in reality, if I can't give it 100%, I don't want to start it until I know that I can begin that process and actually do it. And it's neat to come on here and chat and see who you look for and how you approach it, and watch other people, how they approach their personal podcasts, as well as listening on my own level. And I'm new to the podcast game. I actually don't listen to podcasts hardly at all up until starting more recently so that I can see what all the fuss is about.
Yeah, and I'll be 100% honest with you, and this is one thing I've never said on any episode. I listen to other people's podcasts, and obviously I listen to this because I edit it or
Yeah.
whatever I do with it. But I personally don't sit down every day and listen to a podcast.
Mm-mm.
But what I found is there are people, and we've talked about the different sections, but I want to talk about office people for just 2 seconds. People that work inside an office, they get a break, and because the TV app Quibi, which was like a 10-minute
Yeah.
show, is getting, I don't know what happened. Something happened and it failed.
Oh,
People have that 15 minutes, and people don't use their 15 minutes to always scroll Facebook.
right.
They're listening to something. They're outside walking around for that 15 minutes around that building, be it the
Mm-hmm.
Chrysler building or whatever, just going down all those stairs and going back. Well, maybe not going back up, but catching that elevator. So it's always weird times that they listen. It's not the time that I would listen, because I'd be like, in the olden time, gather everybody around the fire. Let's listen to a podcast on Alexa.
Right.
Right. So yeah, it's a different thing, and to me it just feels like it's a radio station. It feels like I'm from Callers Mountain, so, or
Mm-hmm.
Liberty Mountain as they call it. So it would just be like me being on top of Callers Mountain, having this show and
Yeah.
having someone come on once in a while. So once again, I want to thank you. And one thing that I would like to do, because I consider this one of my better episodes. Probably
Oh,
going to be one
cool.
of the
Thank
best
you.
ones. You and a friend of mine, Amy Banton. I'm sorry, Amy. I got your name mixed up. I'm sorry. Y'all have this aura about you, and you got to keep that in the world. Pass that along to people, because not
Thank
everybody
you.
has that. And once again, I'm going to say, you got the charisma of your mother. That makes you an
Thank you.
enigma. Charismatic enigma. You have to be careful with that, because it's contagious sometimes, and sometimes it's not. But
Yeah.
if you can pass it along to your children, to your husband, you probably already passed it on to all of them. But if y'all just keep that flow going,
Thank you.
that makes the world better. So once again, I
Thank
want
you.
to thank you for being on West Virginia Commonplace.
Thank you for doing this. Thank you for
I
having
need
me.
you to do me one quick favor before we get off. Give a shout out to everybody that has been involved, that's built up Vesna, that's made the whole transformation with you
Yes.
and for you.
Yes.
So,
So obviously my husband, children, I mean, they shape my humor daily. My husband challenges me in good ways to be a better version of myself. And then my parents, who support me and who just believe in me wholeheartedly. The friends that stand beside me and love me, even when I tend to not be consistently chatting, as well as the friends that I have stepped away from, the ones that I've hurt. They taught me more than I can express, and I thank them for that. And the ones that have hurt me, the stupid mistakes, as we may call them, but the people that I had hoped to benefit their lives, and in reality, maybe I didn't. They're the ones that I have taken and grown from, and I use those failures to continue moving forward. And so I feel just anybody that comes across my way, thank you for sharing your positivity, your light, even if it's negativity. Thank you for sharing, because inevitably everybody teaches me something. But that core group, my parents, my best friends, my husband and family, they
okay,
keep me going.
so the key thing I got from there is learn me or be a lesson to me, right?
I tried to, it took a long time, but yes, I tried to, everybody that I may have hurt, because let's be real, we've all hurt somebody.
Yes.
I tried to forgive myself, but then also recognize what I did and why I did it and how I could do better. And so everybody has taught me something somewhere along the way. And so I'm thankful for that. I'm thankful that God gave me that.
Okay, awesome. And all of the audience, we want to thank Vesna once again for being on West Virginia Commonplace. And I guess we're going to sign off.
Awesome. Thank you.